Hello and welcome back to Industriegigant 2. And when we last left off, we finally cashed in on our whiskey investment by getting everyone drunk during the height of World War II, because that's a sane and sensible thing to do, right, as a US-based company. Well, thankfully there aren't any repercussions in this game, so we can now focus our attention on some other missions here and the base content of the game. And ultimately, I have decided to only try one of those missions, because the other ones turned out to be supremely unenjoyable in the first season. So ultimately, it comes down to Motor City, one of the missions available in the hard campaign, and the second to last, incidentally, so it's not going to be easy, I can already tell you. So it's 1955 and we have 90s to work with, and we have to cover the demand by 50% for luxury automobiles starting right now. You know? On the 1st of January 1955, but of course we have no industries right now on the map, and if I'm not misremembering, we barely have enough money to build all the facilities we need. Never mind getting these cars over here, of course. So we have a couple of dealerships on the map already. I think it's 3 in total, and we need to deliver at least 50% of the demand throughout the entirety of the mission. And the town also has some interesting facilities already set down, right, courtesy of the game developers. So it means all of the towns will grow rapidly. And just to rub it in, we also cannot demolish any city buildings, but we can certainly decrease the prices, we can increase the prices, and we can also set down our own dealerships here somehow, if we can find some room for that. Yeah, there's Pontiac, there's Fort Town. I think there's only one dealership right now. Yeah, Buick Town, and back here we have Studebaker, okay, and a Chevy. Okay, so there's plenty of demand, of course, and it's all about demand in this mission, naturally, so that gives, I guess. But it has been some time since I last invested heavily in the car industry, so let's just refresh our memory and see what we can do. Yeah, so car industry, there's the luxury automobiles, a sports car of some type. So we need engines for this, we need a luxury car body and some tires, of course. Very fancy. And of course you can see that we need 4 different car industries just to make us these cars, of course. And there's no other income source in this game, and I suppose we could start selling some tires on the side, can we not? Yeah, can we do? I think we can at least check with the dealerships. We should be able to sell some spare parts, for instance, if it comes down to that. Can we do? Yeah, we can sell tires and we can sell luxury automobiles, and that's all we have access to in this mission. So it's not going to be a cakewalk, and there's a very distinct possibility that we will be failing, just warning you here already, right? Okay, maybe we can cut out some transportation costs, at least for this factory complex we are setting down in this area here, roughly speaking. Right, so what else do we need? We need tires. The tires need steel and rubber, makes sense. For these luxury car bodies we need steel and leather, of course cowhide, right? Yeah, wood and leather, that sort of thing. Of course, we need some chemical industry to make us some rubber for these tires. And we also need some engines, of course. So steel, times 2 and times 4. That's like an entire cluster of steel industries going back and forth non-stop, essentially. Okay, we also need some leather, of course. We need petroleum and we need iron ore, plenty of iron ore. And otherwise, in terms of the transportation, what's available? Alright, we have some cars. We have some trains, we have some ships, and we have some aircraft even. Okay, that's the freight version of the Boeing 707, I see. I guess these weren't really purpose-built back in the day. I think they were converted after retirement from passenger service. Okay, so what's nearby here? I think we can get some leather over here, for instance. Iron ore already then, not very accessible as you would think, because we have many difficulty spikes in this mission here. So failure is a distinct possibility, especially if you cannot set up all the factories, you know. Okay, but I do remember this is not going to last us here whatsoever, so later on we have to cut in some iron ore from the mountains here. Alright, so where's that petroleum? I mean, oil, whatever. Of course, we're going to need it. It's going to be necessary. I don't think I can see it very easily from this minimap. Yeah, this is only iron ore over here from what I can tell, so where's that good old dino juice? Too far away? I sure hope not. Well, it has to be someplace, right? That's the problem though. I think with 7.7 million, roughly speaking, it's going to be difficult to set up, because if we don't produce any automobiles, I mean, we can maybe start selling some tires. if anything else fails. But of course the clock is ticking down on the very 1st of January here in 1955. But it may not be achievable, it isn't very easily, but we still got them oil. Aha, somebody has a few other someplace are here. Let me guess. Oh, over here wide. Ah, there's the good old oil juice. Of course, it's also very sparse oil deposits. So how are we getting the stuff over here? Because we're going to need it. I think the last time I actually used some airplanes for this. Because time will be of the essence. I suppose we can at least try to make the steel angle locally, and then what? Leather shouldn't be a problem. So we have cars without tires, essentially. I would think. Yeah, the easiest thing is to fly in the plastic, presumably. Something like that. Okay, so we start with the requisite structures and see what we can do. If we fail, if we cannot finance all the industries, we can immediately reload, essentially. This will be pretty pricey. So, okay, of course we need to have a 4x4 cluster for all the shit, I would figure. Okay, surface mining tells us we cannot get sufficient resources. Yeah, I don't think this is possible. I already know we need at least 2 of them. So let's just try to make this happen. Then of course we need a stockpile for the raw materials. Yeah, okay, so put some iron on here, please. There should be some room for canoe wrenching here for the ladder. I don't remember squeezing it in somehow. I suppose we could try to make some items in bulk, but of course if we don't sell anything, we're not making any money, so we have to do this sooner than later. Yeah, I think aircraft are kinda sensible for this because we can fly out some plastic and pick up some cars on the return trip, sell it over here someplace. I think aircraft are surprisingly affordable in this game. But of course, otherwise how we're getting the stuff over here? Not by ship, of course. That's not going to happen. Is there any oil here anywhere closer, maybe? Okay, there are some minuscule deposits of iron ore over here, I see. Okay. No, it's not very helpful, of course. We have iron ore to the northeast here someplace, or northwest even. I'm sorry. Isometric perspective is confusing sometimes. Okay, of course we need at least a couple of steel mills here. They need to be running full time, essentially. Around the clock, more or less. We also need to make some room, or at least leave some room for train stations and things of that nature. I think with adjacency bonuses we can get about 11 point something out of any given factory. At least with a 2x2 here. Yeah, this needs to be full speed ahead, right? I think it's 11 point something. Yeah, 11 point something. I don't like the odds here, frankly, but I suppose we try our best here. We did succeed the last attempt, I think, even on the first attempt, surprisingly enough. So I do believe it should work relatively decently by comparison. One for the engines, one for luxury bodies, okay. For this we need some leather, of course. Tires we could make locally, surely. Okay, good here. So how can I make this happen? Because all these factories, they are capable of producing many cars, you know. So we need adjacency bonuses as well. Something else to keep in mind. Yeah, space utilization will be a primary concern in this mission. We also need to leave space for the airport, right? Which will be relatively large, I would figure. Yeah, it will be relatively large, I suppose. Okay, all the intermediate products need to be accessible in some sort of central stockpile. Yeah, how large is the airport? It's enormous. Unsurprisingly. Of course, there's no terraforming. We cannot do away with the road because it's county property. We cannot remove the mountain over here as well. So this is the only spot. Yes, I see. Yeah, probably right. Okay, but it's a problem with airports. They're very large. So how pricey is that fucking thing here? 500,000. So in second thought, we may be unable to, but we need to, of course, yeah, get in the plastic. And since we can't take a loan, if we screw ourselves over, then have fun with that. But we need at least a 4-car industry. Why don't we? 4-car industry somewhere. So I'm not allowed to build in here, of course. Adjacency bonuses will also be extremely important. At least for some of those factories. Yeah, cost per month of 3,200. And we can, well, with 2 ramps, I see, but of course we can have more aircraft using this line. That's not the problem in of itself. They can go into a holding pattern. There could be a terrible mistake, but how else are we going to plastic in here? The answer is we don't. For the rubber eben, I'm sorry. Okay, so if we screw us over, we need to restart the mission immediately. But I don't think it's going to happen, because I already played for the mission last season, of course. Okay, so adjacency bonuses, how can we make this happen? There's some room for these steel factories for starters. Status stockpile maybe in here someplace. Yeah, which factories need the adjacency bonuses more than others? Because at the moment I don't remember about the rate of production. This is very low. This is also very low, but it should be matched, roughly speaking. We also need some leather, of course, there's some place, so at least one cattle ranch. Yeah, which factory does need a 4x4 cluster? I suppose we need to get started here somehow, right? That's the thing though. Okay, 1-car industry with the 1950s looking car. Okay, interesting. I already know that needs to be the largest stockpile imaginable. So we just squeeze it in here someplace. We also need some leather, of course, why don't we? Cattle ranching to the south. Yeah, there's a rock in the way, so we couldn't build any factories in here anyhow. So I suppose we try that tile. Okay, goodie. It's very large, of course. Let's just adjust this properly. What do we need in here? Yeah, what do we need in here indeed? Okay, so we need some steel, of course. How many? Let's just say 4 for now. The stockpile of rubber, of course. 4 maybe. Okay, we need some leather, so 1 slot ought to be good enough for this. We need plenty of car components though. Maybe for now we go with each. I'm not quite sure about the rate of production. Yeah, 4. 4, okay. 5. Another 4, so okay, I'm not quite sure. I don't remember. We need to make the adjustments later on. Of course, we also need a couple of additional factories here, as you would think. Let's just see how we can squeeze it in here. So, we need some... yeah, chemical industry on the other side, and matching airport times 2 actually, because we need to sell some cars, don't we, somewhere. It's also something to keep in mind. And the oil deposits on this side of the map are a little bit sparse by comparison. But how sparse remains to be seen. And of course, we have to set up everything from scratch essentially. And the airport needs to be where exactly? Over here, so we can access everything. That seems like a decent idea. The airport, being a large structure, is a pretty good catchment area. And as you can see, these oil fields are laughable. 600. Yeah, okay, so they weren't holding back in this hard campaign, as I've already mentioned. Okay, 600 even. That's barely anything, really, to be honest, okay. I suppose in the middle here, that should be good, I'm hoping. And it's only for the storage of... wow, okay, both items presumably then. And of course an airport and the chemical industry. You get the idea. Just to make sure we have to access this other deposit as well. Pull it slightly further to the north, as far away as possible. Okay, goodie. And of course at least the one chemical industry. Yeah, we can make this directly right from oil, thankfully. Okay, doesn't matter where it is, but adjacency bonuses could be useful later on. And of course the other stockpile, so both stockpiles, right? Okay. Not very generous, their game, but hopefully it's good enough. And then once we have extracted this oil, we can build over here, no problem. Okay, this has been set down. Of course, we also need to sell some cars to some outlet here. So this is one additional airport. And this one seems to be the most sensible one. So how many can we sell here? Okay, 8. And tires, if we have some excess, we cart it out by something else. Maybe by truck, who knows? We will see eventually. And as a reminder, we cannot demolish any buildings in this particular scenario. So let's just set up one additional airport here someplace. Apparently no one cares about the airport. Steel incoming. We have some tire production available, I suppose, as well. We also need to have a leather farm here someplace. So there's the cattle ranch, you know what I mean? This is somewhere. Right here? Ah, well, it's possible. I mean, if everything else fails, we can just make another stockpile. Okay, so let's just see about the rate of production here. I like the off. So what do we want to process first? Yeah, what's the maximum here on these anyhow? So it's 3.3 without adjacency bonuses. That was something I was kind of concerned about. So we need at least 4 of those fucking things, I believe. It doesn't satisfy 50% of the demand anyway. Nowhere close. Okay, so it's like 4 steel for all of this shit here. The space for 4x4 cluster or try to. Okay, let's just see about the other ratios here. So what can we get? Car engines look slightly better. So one factory should be able to supply 2 of these. Same for tires, I would figure. And the luxury bodies, of course, they're even worse. VD. So this will be the ultimate bottleneck, I think. Okay, unsurprisingly will be. And this is too far away from the stockpile, unsurprisingly. But we need the space here, I believe, for these additional steel mills. I think they're all the same size, aren't they? So this is usable, I think. Yeah, every single tile counts. By the way, if you make a mistake, well, then have fun reloading, I guess. Okay, 2 of them should be good enough, I'm thinking. So we have bonuses available if we need them later on. Okay, so we're down to 1 point something billion, and of course we still have some factories need to be setting down, and also the aircraft, of course. And maybe rename some of these stations as well. Couldn't be a terrible idea, because we're nowhere near a Buick town, for instance. Okay, this one goes full speed ahead here right away, I guess. So 3.3, okay. Okay, 4, yes. Okay, we made us 4 engines for now. And we need 4 sets of tires, which of course requires 1 steel. Okay, so this is one additional factory here someplace. Don't forget about the cattle ranch, you know. Okay, so well, it's not ideal, but hopefully it would work. Maybe, there's a big maybe though. And of course nothing's going to happen until we fly in some rubber, of course. Okay, and we also need a, yeah, okay, you can put this in here, no problem though, weiter double checking. So we need at least 1 ranch here someplace. And another stockpile in the middle here somewhere. Not exactly prime farmland, but I suppose we can have multiple side by side. Okay, and we put the stockpile over here somewhere. Oh, how neat. And of course this one would put more cattle ranches in the catchment area, right? I think. We can expand this later on if we want to. It's to medium size, but hopefully it won't be necessary. And we're only putting leather in here, I guess. For now. Yeah, so we need 2 ranches already, but I'm not quite sure I can, right? Because we need at least 1 additional plane here, or 2 along the way. Yeah, just to get started. About tires, what was the tire angle again? At the moment, we don't even have a factory, right, for that. Yeah, you need to be the one here, right? No problem, so 4. Okay, I think we should be able to finance at least 1 aircraft. Yeah, 1 aircraft need to finance here, of course. So what's available? 12 items on the Boeing. Then we have the Lockheed C-130, I believe. So we can carry 16 items. I think it makes more sense, right? At least for now. But of course, it's too pricey. Okay. Then we have the old Lockheed Constellation. Surprisingly, the jet airliner is affordable. The C-130 isn't. But we have just enough money to make this happen. Just enough money. That cannot be a coincidence. I don't think it is, right? Okay. Let's just pick up all the rubber we can get here. I mean, if we go broke, there's nothing we can do. There literally is nothing we can do right now. Just have to hope for the best. And we try to pick up some luxury automobiles. How many can we produce here? I'm not sure. Ideally, not too many, because I don't want to wait until full, for instance. But the rate of production is very slow, so maybe we can try to squeeze 4 into here just to sell anything whatsoever. And then fly it out to the other airport. Yeah, I think that's all we can make happen here, right? And there's the first aircraft in service. German Airlines. Good UTC free. Yeah, with the custom paint scheme, very fancy. I like that. All the cutscenes are very well done in this game. Yeah, but of course, it's not exactly a jet airliner. So, okay, then we are down to 30-something thousand. Yeah. And this will be Dealership East, I guess. Just to make sure. Okay, so I guess then there's no need to pause time here, anything like that. Yeah, of course, we are being observed, as you can tell. It's not going to be easy, but I'm being as smart as possible back here. Yeah, of course the car parts will keep piling up because there's no rubber available right now. We're working on that slowly. I mean, it's a little bit too slow here, frankly. I'd rather have a stockpile right now in terms of the essence. Yeah, okay. I'm not quite sure how profitable these luxury automobiles will be. Of course, we have to deliver way more than this anyway. So it's going to take some effort here. Manageable effort or headache, we'll see once we get there. This one needs to be accessible at one stage because there's not enough steel here, incidentally. Ideally, we need 2 airports, actually, come to think of it, but I don't think there will be space for that. Because we only have 2 ramps and 1 runway. That's not good enough most of the time. Okay, we are flying. We're taking a very interesting path there. Never gets the job done. Of course, aircraft on the ground are very slow. Yeah, we're finally making the first automobiles. Yeah, I think we can finance all the industries in 1 aircraft and nothing else. I think they must have used the calculator right when they designed the scenario, just to make sure it can happen. Of course, there are no conditional orders in this game, so we cannot wait until 50% or something like that. It's all or nothing, but we dip into the negative. But there's no way to avoid this here. It's impossible, this mission. Downright impossible. Yeah, well, it's nice in orbit, I don't think we can. But as soon as we're able, we should be buying a second aircraft. Maybe this time around we go with the Lockheed C-130, because it can carry 16 items, and we need to deliver some items in bulk, why don't we? Yeah, and please sell some automobiles, and just double checking. Yeah, because we're only storing automobiles in here, and also some tires maybe. I'm not quite sure how profitable this will be. 200 something thousand. Okay, goodie. What aircraft was, what exactly again? I think it was like 200 something thousand, right? And we're selling all of our automobiles overnight, and yet again we still have a negative income. But I think we should have a stockpile of rubber already waiting for pickup, right? Indeed we do. So things should start to hum along a little bit more speedily now. Since we can take out the loan, there's nothing else we can do. I mean, what other options do we have? Only building one steel mill, for instance. Only one mine. But as you've seen here, the demand for steel is pretty overwhelming. But maybe a second aircraft would have been a better idea after all. But now it's too late, right? We just have to hope that we can get these items sorted later. Just pick up as many as are available. Something like that. Maybe also some items here, like tires. Assuming there are some in the stockpile. Okay, just in case we have some tires, I suppose we sell a couple of them, just to make sure. But we need a second aircraft, you know, that's very important. Now they sell for 30,000 for one set, presumably. And ain't too shabby. As soon as we can finance the aircraft, we need to pause the game immediately. So maybe next delivery it will happen, or 2 deliveries after that. At the moment we have a 1 out of 50, so you can see the struggle in this mission. Yes, and failure, as a reminder, as I've already warned you, is a distinct possibility. Despite the setup, it can still happen. Don't take anything for granted here. And 10 cars are waiting pickup. Okay, get that aircraft over here. It's a jet airliner, but it's only one aircraft right now. And these are not very fast in this game, certainly not to scale. Must be as in the original Transport Tycoon, right? Yeah, something like that. I think aircraft had a 50% speed reduction from their statistics. You can adjust this, of course, in OpenTDD, thankfully. Maybe in a couple of months you can finance a second aircraft. That would be great. Alright, I think we need to adjust the prices here temporarily. Just to make sure, but you can sell 8, right? So just for this month, I think. Yeah, so there we go. Finally, we can then find another aircraft. That's nice. Yeah, clone it immediately, I think. Yeah, 2 out of 50, it ain't enough, of course, but we need more rubber here. It's pretty a reasonable assumption. So do we keep the aircraft, or do we swap this out for the turboprop? Yeah, I think we'd rather swap this out for the turboprop, don't we? That's probably a good idea. No car body, it's just the... What? Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm confused here. Okay, I don't think we can have traffic jams in the sky. Thankfully, it's only on the ground. As it would be in real life for the most part. And what is that sound? Is there a motor racing circuit someplace? I'm not sure, frankly. Maybe it would be smarter to just, yeah, have this aircraft flying back and forth. Not worry about selling anything, although we should be servicing multiple towns, of course, shouldn't we? Sooner than later, incidentally. That could be a smart idea, because the photon isn't waiting for us, and Morbid is the room for the airport, for instance. That may be a good idea. Because, well, it's for every single dealership, averaged out over the entirety of the mission. And I suppose that means you cannot finance the aircraft and the airport, but I think we still can make this happen. Yeah, okay, problem is range, right? Can we squeeze it in here still? Well, if we could demolish buildings, then maybe we could. Yeah, so it's not accessible by aircraft as it would appear, because there's only one size of airport in this game. This just ain't happening here, right? Is it not? Of course, you cannot mess with the dealerships. So this would have to be a train angle then, I guess. Unfortunately so. But Buick Town certainly is accessible by aircraft, no problem. Yeah, we need to deliver items to multiple dealerships sooner than later. It's extremely important. It's of uttermost importance here, frankly. Okay, then we, yeah, what was it again? Dealer West here, right? Yeah, just to make sure. But don't buy the aircraft here, thank you very much. Well, I sure hope it gives us the result we need eventually. Yeah, sorry for pausing the game, but I have to do this here because otherwise we're running completely dry in the meantime. But I prefer not to pause the game all the time, of course. Then we just pick up as many cars as are available, and maybe also some tires here on the way, just to make sure. And dump all this stuff in here, please. Alright, that should be acceptable. Also, don't forget about the prices for these spare parts. Ado is only one right now, so in this case, never mind. I think that's fine. Yeah, horse racing circuit as well, some places are here. Yeah, time is progressing pretty speedily. We are also using a 2 times or 4 times yeah, modifier right now, but the aircraft are very slow. That's unfortunate. And then we have to fix this bottleneck of car production as soon as possible. And as a reminder, 16 is one entire stockpile here, you know. If you don't have space, then it disappears into the ether, unfortunately so. But we have 4 slots, so not to worry right now. But eventually it will become a concern, of course. But of course you can also just use up the materials a bit more speedily, ideally. Alright, so there we go. We need to pause the game again. So what we want to focus on, maybe more car production. I think it's good to... yeah, I suppose we should focus on additional car production sooner than later, so it needs to be a 4x4 cluster. I'm pretty certain about this. But the moment we cannot finance all the industries quite so quickly, can we now? But more cars is very important, so now it's 4 roughly here, so 8 combined, something like that. Which means this also needs a second factory, I would think. Yeah, just ain't enough, right? That's what I meant, not an easy mission. And now we are broke again, unfortunately so, but these I suppose can go a little bit faster than the rest here. Indeed they can. Yeah, 4, okay. Of course, we also need more leather now, which means next month, presumably. Yeah, that's not enough, right? I mean, we have a stockpile, but it's not going to last very long, so this will be the next thing on our mind, presumably. But I know the delivery is here, if you wouldn't mind. Okay. These are already having away at full speed. Which probably won't be enough. So that means we have to funnel in more steel, for instance, sooner than later. And of course we also need more rubber now. So 8 point something here. That's barely enough for both of them, I think. But alrighty. Four out of 50. Could be better, could be worse, but these are getting things done. Okay, then we need to set down the additional counter range, of course. I don't care how expensive it is, frankly. Just set it down here, put things into motion. We need that. Yeah, aircraft shouldn't be that slow, right? And landings and takeoffs, they look a little bit strange here, courtesy of the perspective. Yeah, I think we ought to start picking up some tires, maybe. And I guess there was a shortage of rubber here, right? Probably. Are we not making the tires quickly enough because there's a shortage of steel, I guess? Or there was temporarily. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, we're bleeding money very badly. Okay, new truck. I suppose for the nearest position it could be somewhat useful. At the moment we don't have luxury, of course. Okay, there we have it. 300 and... no, it was actually a good million here. Not including our debts, of course. Okay, so 6 out of 50. So this is still unserviced, unfortunately so. I don't think we can leave from an airport to this terminal. But we can use some trucks for this, I guess. That's an option. Depends on what the shortage is here regardless. This is still rubber. Yeah, we are producing rubber in large quantities, of course. And over here, what's the problem? What's the item in shortest supply? We have steel, we have... okay, so we're not making the tires quick enough because we're also flying out some of them, I think. Something like that. Should probably seize that, right? But selling some spare parts on the side is hardly a bad idea in this game. Although it does not really count towards our mission objective, of course. And of course we also need more steel mills, which are too pricey right now, unsurprisingly. Well, goodie. Okay, well, I guess it should work. I hope at least. Good thing we are making efficient use of space, don't we? That's not going to last for the rest of the mission, of course, but there is some iron ore right to the north here. Not directly accessible, but we can put some trucks in there or some trains even. I think it's the most complex chain we have available in the base game. Later on, we do have some electronics, of course, giving me nightmares and also flashbacks to the first industry giant, I would figure. Now just commit to this because it's going to be necessary. We already know it. Yeah, that's the maximum. 14, courtesy of the adjacency bonuses. It's very nice, and it's absolute maximum, by the way. Not getting much more than that. Yeah, we cannot sell these directly, can we now? So we need more factories over here, of course, unsurprisingly. Then hopefully we should be able to find some sort of proper balance and also start finding in some items to the remaining dealership sooner or later, ideally. I suppose it's very far away for some trucks here, right? Presumably. And there's nothing we can pick up on the return trip, so I do believe aircraft is still the best thing available. And the demand was what exactly? Of course, the highest demand imagined. Goodie. So we're missing out on 10 vehicles per month, essentially, as additional punishment. Yeah, we need more of those industries here. The entire cluster, as a matter of fact. Yeah, but finally we're having some money problems solved here. Intermittently, at least. So it's 5 here per factory essentially, which means over here is now a shortage. Okay. Maybe we don't have to hammer along this quickly here. We cannot provide this many components right at this point in time. Yeah, we really need to start thinking about delivering some items in here. So I do believe we're trying the aircraft angle after all. Seems to be the most value for money proposition right now, surprisingly. Yeah, we can make it happen, I'm sure. Yeah, you want some cars? There you have at the airport right next to your buildings. How does that feel, friends? Yeah, how does it feel, right, friends? Okay, whatever. Of course, now we have to wait a little bit here until we can finance the rest of the operation, like this month, presumably. But ideally, getting this done sooner or later would be a good idea. We need a 1 depot, 1 storage pile, and a couple of trucks here, essentially. Yeah, because we can't deliver to ourselves. That's impossible. It's not permissible. That is probably one limitation of this game, of course. Yeah, so whatever seems to be available here. And we need a couple of trucks, so you can put a trailer, thankfully. Yeah, luxury automobiles and put them in here. That's all I care about. And of course also one for tires in case there's some spare to go around. Any old truck will do for this, I think. Just in case there's something available, just to put it in here, my friend. Thank you very much. And it's 2 loading bays, and that's all we need. I think that could be insufficient, but for now we just start finding in yet more items. Yeah, 8 point something. I think we need a second factory over there. Chemical plant, whatever. I think that setup worked relatively decently by all accounts. Yeah, so be on your merry way, please. Also, don't forget about saving the game here on occasion if you wouldn't mind. Excellent. What's the statistics? 11 out of 50, because we haven't delivered any items over here, of course. And what's the demand anyway? It's not looking good. We need to deliver more items, of course. So we are cloning 1 plane here per route, I guess. Something like that. If I can click on the plane, of course. Yeah, we clone you, and we clone the other one going over here. I don't think there's an easy way to see the station inventory. I don't think there is, right? Yeah, you're going there, so also another aircraft, please. Thankfully, we can find the finances operation in terms of rubber deliveries. What's necessary here? A second factory, of course, unsurprisingly. 2 may be good enough, depends on how many spare tires we want to sell on the side. Yeah, instead of going with that, I think we build a second oilway here someplace. That makes sense, I should say. A little bit of sense. Right here, I think. Okay, that may be good enough. We have to wait and see. Plenty of cars are waiting pickup. Of course, you can also have a plane going all the way around here, just delivering a couple of spare cars per airport just to make up for the shortfall. That's a possibility for us. I'm not quite sure how many there will be in reserve, frankly. I think the demand was highest in the other dealership here right in the middle somewhere. maybe this would work. I should hope so. Okay, so we go in here. Drop off the shit, and since we have some time to spare, we pick up some rubber on the return trip, assuming this airport doesn't get super, oh, of course it's the only way to make this happen. Apparently only 4 orders here, that's pretty limiting. Alrighty then. Now what can we do? Lito's the answer. Frequent deliveries are extremely essential in this mission, of course. Then we have, of course, only one runway available and 2 ramps, you know. But there simply is no space for a different airport here, someplace by chance. I mean, we can try that. Redirecting this stuff is pretty easy by comparison. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. We just have to get in the catchment area, of course. That one stockpile, which I cannot make happen apparently, but I did see that. Yeah, what's the problem? So we rotate this thing, takes up the same space, but sometimes it's just inaccessible. That's really odd. Yeah, I think we ought to do this, because otherwise space will be the limiting factor. Yeah, we also want to maybe separate deliveries and pickups, you know, it's usually a good idea. And we have new aircraft available. What is it? The Fokker Friendship, I guess. Or maybe it's the Dash 7 could also be. No, it's the Fokker F-27, so I was not seeing things, which is nice. Yeah, you should go to someplace else here, my friend, why shouldn't you? Or if I can find the aircraft, of course. I suppose there is a vehicle directory, and the last one we have back here. That's not super helpful. Okay, let's just adjust the orders here very brief, because otherwise there will be some problems, right? Okay, this one needs to be junked, right? Something like that. And then we append the orders over here. Adjust the orders once again and pick up a full load of cars if we can make this happen. Yeah, it's necessary because we only have 2 ramps and 1 runway. There's not a lot of capacity to work with here. There's no way there would be a safe landing occurring here, but alrighty then, I think we take it. Oh, you know what? Maybe these deliveries just aren't frequent enough. So maybe go for half load, something like that. Yeah, I think it needs to be adjusted. I know it will be completely uneconomical, but supply is more important than anything else in this mission, of course. I guess. Just to make sure. Since we're flying past there anyhow, so to speak. So maybe we go for this selection and then 2 aircraft, you know. So they will be spacing themselves out over time, something like that. Yeah, I think it's a bad idea, presumably. Just to make sure. We always have something available for this year. Yeah, what's the shortage? Is it these car bodies, right? Yeah, that must be the case now. Okay, good. It's another thing we have to fix here, of course. Always the one thing in this game, of course. Okay, this ain't working, right? Oh, it is still working. Okay, good here. People luxury car body, so another 6 here, which means there's need for another Kato wrench, I suppose. Yeah, but ain't happening very easily, I would think. Oh, not a problem. I suppose you can supply this one area there somehow. So another immediate stockpile here someplace. That's for the additional ladder or whatever, I would think. It's unnecessary, but we want to make sure, of course. So now we should be able to access this Kato wrench, which gives us a 4.6. It should be enough, well, maybe not quite. What can we do? Throw money and structures at the problem is the answer. Yeah, very happy workers, I would think. So, what's the Yeah, what's the verdict here? So 16 out of 50. So it's getting better here. But hopefully we can fix some of our shortfalls and deliver even more items. Of course, it would appear to be necessary. Yeah, now we have a shortage of rubber, as it would seem. Another thing we have to fix here, of course. I was not telling you the lies here right at the start of the mission. This is not easy. Probably is slightly too ambitious here, but alrighty. Probably don't need quite that much. But our planes are waiting for just ever so slightly too long here, I see. Just to make sure, double check back here once in a while, because this will run dry eventually, and of course in this particular scenario we have to play through the entirety of the mission, because of this one objective. I don't think we can sell 8 cars per month. I don't think we have that luxury. There just aren't enough raw materials on the map here for that. This one will probably be the least efficient one in terms of deliveries, right? Yeah, probably. But we're working on this, of course. More frequent deliveries are more important, of course. Once again, we're working on that. But anything else would have to be produced someplace else, you know, starting from scratch. Of course, there's no space available any longer back here, I think. Yeah, now we have a shortage of steel, of course. But what's the stockpile situation? Yeah, steel indeed is in short supply, so we now have to cut in a couple more, yeah, deliveries of iron ore somehow. This menu isn't layered in the proper way, unsurprisingly, right? Because it's a bit unfortunate here. Right, what I'm going to use? Trains, maybe? I suppose if we only care about iron ore, then put it over here someplace. Maybe? I mean, there's more iron ore back here, but it's a very small deposit. It may not be worth the trouble. Once it runs dry, we just don't worry about it, I guess, right? Probably. No, of course we would have to. Okay, whatever. At least you can get it done. Don't forget about the essentials. This is a keeper. The other one maybe not so much. At least in long term, of course. Yeah, of course the storage pile is also necessary, as you would think. Why can we buy electric locomotives if it's not electrified rail? That's strange. Our very first diesel locomotive, I believe, in the season at least. Yes, but it's a branch line diesel locomotive, not the main line diesel locomotive, I believe. I'm not sure how many will be necessary. Maybe they don't. Apparently the game is very particular. I have to click on the name tag and nowhere else, apparently. Okay, let's just see free trains for now. That should be good enough to supply some iron ore right to our factories. Although, of course, they have to face through each other, which in this case, I'm not too concerned about. And I think we saw the same locomotive just about now in the cutscene, didn't we? Okay, a versatile branch locomotive. I like that. So we're getting here, that's interesting. So maybe my planning from last season was already relatively perfected. Interesting how this works sometimes, right? I think we just don't have enough steel in here right now. Yeah, the demand for steel is overwhelming as you can tell, and we're also delivering too much rubber. I suppose we, yeah, why don't we start selling some tires on the side here with some more cheaper options? But maybe I'm just waiting for steel too often. It could be the shortfall here incidentally. I think that's more likely, right? These are already humming away at full speed. It just ain't going any faster. I don't think these mines can compete with each other, by the way, in case you're wondering. It's only about the resources right underneath here. So we can have theoretically another one right next door. And we ought to do this, I think. That's a good idea. So we are on the right track as it would appear. I don't think there's any fear or any risk of producing too many automobiles in this mission, because the town will also be increasing in size, of course, as we play through it. But this demand will, of course, also change over time. Unfortunately so. Especially the one in the middle, I would think. Yeah, it needs to be at least a couple more cars here per month, ideally. At the moment, it's difficult to achieve, of course. This one seems to be almost saturated, so there's at least that here now, because all the dealerships are taken into account when it comes to calculating the average number down there. Maybe we need a smaller stockpile just for some rubber here, right? So these items we deliver don't disappear into the ether. That could be necessary. We only care about the central stockpile, right? Back here, maybe. It's 4 additional slots, so 4 additional deliveries, essentially. Are we going to use the space for anything else, for that matter? I suppose we can slap it 2 side by side, if you only care about these 2 factories. Which, incidentally, we are right now. Okay, just to make sure we have enough storage space for all this rubber stuff here. I suppose it's a good idea. Just rubber, nothing else. Once again, it's unnecessary because I'm restricting the item slots here, but it's still very good practice. I didn't always do this in the first campaign because I played this game blind, so we had some problems courtesy of my blunders I was unaware of. And I don't want to repeat these mistakes, of course. But I think the shortage is still steel, right? Isn't it? So, alrighty. I guess good thing we left some room over here. These cannot benefit from the other adjacency bonuses. But they can benefit from adjacency bonuses with these 2 factories, I believe. Right? Then again, it seems to be a little bit ridiculous, but apparently we can benefit from adjacency bonuses past the 4 factories. Isn't that lovely? It's a new discovery or rediscovery. Either of those things. Yeah, that's one oversized factory here. Yeah, but he is, right? Yeah, that's one oversized factory complex if I ever seen one. Yeah, get it all. Take it all out of the ground here. All of it. Every single tiny bit. Yeah, good thing we're trying this mission because it's actually enjoyable and challenging, both at the same time, unlike the other missions in the hard campaign. if my memory isn't completely faulty, but I don't think it is. The final mission in particular was a 5-parter, and even so we failed because of the outrageous difficulty. It was pretty terrible. But at least we have finally enough of money here to finance everything we wanted and then some. Yeah, what's the shortage now? What are we waiting on? I think these factories just aren't producing quickly enough, so full speed ahead here. And then we try to fix the raw material shortage, of which there are many, of course. I think it's these car bodies, right? Again, I would figure that would be the problem. So, okay. Then we try to squeeze in yet another factory here someplace, or these two. Yeah, they can only access this stockpile. Oh, it's too bad. Even more steel, of course. So good thing we just build a couple more over there, of course, wouldn't you think? Okay, full speed ahead, and we hope to fix some other problem, which will undoubtedly pop up here pretty soon. That wasn't my fault whatsoever, it really wasn't. It was the Pathfinder bugging out over here, back at the rubber terminal. Goodie, fantastic. So I'm getting punished for some stupid bugs again, I would figure. Of course, it's a recurring theme and most of my Let's Plays to one degree or another. Yeah, it's the final year, and there's no way we can make this happen now. Absolutely no way. Well, thanks for that game. Due to no fault of my own, frankly. Yeah, another problem with this particular objective is, of course, that lots of waiting around is involved, hence also the game being on full speed. And that means if an error occurs there someplace, then it's too late to notice, frankly, because every single month counts, and this will be too late as a consequence. There's no way we can make up 8 additional % this year here, it's impossible, frankly. And coming to think of it, we also have insufficient deliveries of steel once again, or at least iron ore. Okay, goodie. Yeah, this mission is mostly just about resource management, because these mega deposits of ore and oil will run dry over the course of this mission, of course, adding another layer of difficulty. A manageable one, don't get me wrong. But of course, the Pathfinder bugging out on us, that's not something I can account for very easily. Yeah, isn't that nice, right? Goodie. Goodie indeed. Yeah, there's no way. No reason to hope that we can make this happen this year here as a consequence. Yeah, no way whatsoever, right? Okay, thanks for that game, much obliged. So I played for the entire mission only to fail it, because the game screwed me over yet again. And yeah, I told you the Pathfinder was more robust in this game, and it certainly is on multiple occasions, but not all the time. And we're using up the iron ore deliveries immediately, and there's no space for a second railway line over here, of course. So this is all we're going to get. For now. It doesn't matter anyhow, because it's only half a year remaining, and there's no way we can make this happen, of course. Impossible as a matter of fact. And of course, since deliveries and also production of these items is now too slow, that means, of course, it's also a fight for these ramps here and the runway. Oh, goodie. Otherwise, if it hadn't been for that one plane, I think it would have been a cakewalk. Ultimately, no problem whatsoever. But evidently, now it's a different story, because we lost an entire year essentially, because these things, of course, once they become unbalanced, once everything falls apart, then it's too late to fix, because the production needs to spool up there once again, of course. Which means I lost an entire year, and we also are missing an entire year back here essentially. That's the only reason. Thanks for that game, because the time requirements are pretty strict in this game, and there simply aren't enough raw materials around to finance another, duplicate of this essentially. It's impossible, I think. That would be a constant headache to manage. So, goodie, thanks for that game. Much obliged. Yeah, maybe we can squeeze out a 45% at the end of the year, which means it would have been doable, no problem whatsoever, had it not been for that one fucking plane bugging out entirely. It was just sitting there at the ramp with the old orders, which were no longer in effect, by the way. So I'm not going to what happened there. And there we have it. And it wasn't my fault whatsoever. It was the fucking plane bugging out. I vaguely remember something that is happening in the first campaign as well. At least in the first season, but apparently this detail has slipped my mind. Goodie, thanks for that game. Much obliged here. Let's just see how much dough we had here. Yeah, that was the problem, as you can see. The one I didn't notice because it was too late, since the game was on fast forward, because we have to play for the entire mission, and the setup was already set in stone, so to speak. Wow, fantastic, right? Goodie. Much obliged there. Production costs, of course, 60 million roughly speaking. Driving costs are 25 million because it's exclusively an aircraft angle for the most part. I suppose we have a free tax in total on the entirety of the map. Okay, did we sell any tires here? 2.6 million ain't shabby, frankly. Yeah, and that was the problem here with the rubber angle. Thanks for that game. Otherwise, we have accumulated 247 million almost in terms of car sales. I would call it pretty nice, you know. Still cannot believe it happened. I still cannot believe it happened, but there we go. Okay, ultimately, I think we're done with the base game content, and next time around we try to take a look-see at the other missions, presumably. Oh, depends on what I want to do, but I think for today I'm done with Industriegigant 2 after this massive blunder here with the Pathfinder, right? Okay, ultimately I can only once again apologize, but otherwise I thank you for watching as usual, and hope to see you next time.